Transform your cruise experience with these simple yet powerful habits. On my last cruise, my cabin steward's name was Anton. I met him about 5 minutes after stepping into my room. He smiled, offered to bring extra hangers, and even noticed I was left-handed and flipped the desk setup for me without asking. By day 3, I wasn't just another guest. He greeted me by name, left towel animals shaped like things I'd mentioned I liked, and once surprised me with a perfectly chilled can of Coke waiting by my door after a hot port day. I hadn't even asked. So what made that experience possible? It wasn't a fancy tip or VIP status. It was something so simple most people overlook it entirely. Cabin stewards remember the guests who make their job easier and more human. And the ones they secretly love, they all do the same handful of things. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what those things are. These aren't tricks to get more or hack the system. They're genuine, respectful habits that build great relationships with the people who take care of you on board. And the results? Better service, smoother experiences, and often little surprises that make your cruise feel extra special. If you've ever wondered, is there anything I should be doing that makes life better for my steward? This is the video for you. Let's talk about what your steward wishes every guest knew, and how a few small actions can transform your cruise. This might sound obvious, but it's incredible how many guests never greet their cabin steward, let alone ask their name. Imagine showing up to someone's home every day to clean, organize, restock, and reset, and being treated like you're invisible. That's the reality for far too many cruise stewards. And when someone breaks that cycle with a smile, eye contact, and a simple, "Hey, what's your name?" it matters. When you take a moment to learn your steward's name and use it, you're saying, "I see you. I respect your work." And it builds a foundation of mutual appreciation that often leads to better, more attentive service. One time, I made a point to greet my steward every morning by name. After day 2, he began leaving little personalized notes, like weather tips for port days or the drink of the day written on a sticky note near the TV. Nothing fancy, but thoughtful. It all started with a name. And here's a bonus. When a steward knows you're the guest who smiles, says hi, and remembers their name, they're far more likely to help you out when you really need something, like switching a laundry time, getting fresh towels after hours, or helping with a surprise for your travel partner. It's not manipulation, it's human connection. So here's what to do. Introduce yourself within the first day. If you don't run into your steward naturally, ask guest services who's assigned to your cabin and leave a note with your name and a thank you. Use their name at least once a day. It's a small touch that builds familiarity. Treat them like a person, not just a service provider. Ask where they're from, how long they've been with the line, or what ports they love. Those 10 seconds of kindness at the start of your cruise, they can echo across your entire vacation. Those little signs on your cabin door, the ones that say "make up room" or "do not disturb," they're not just for decoration. They're one of the most powerful tools you have to make your cabin steward's job easier or harder. Here's something most cruisers don't realize. Stewards follow a tight and specific schedule. They can't just circle back to your room every 15 minutes waiting for you to leave. If they pass your cabin and you're inside with no sign on the door, they move on. And that might mean they don't get to clean your room until much later, or sometimes not at all. So using the door indicators properly helps both of you. Want your room cleaned while you're at breakfast or out at the pool? Flip the sign to "make up room." Not ready yet? Use "do not disturb." Simple, right? But here's the twist. Some newer ships don't use paper tags anymore. They have electronic switches inside the room. And because they're subtle, many guests forget to activate them. Your steward ends up knocking multiple times, unsure if it's safe to enter. On my last cruise, I asked the steward what guests do that make their day smoother, and she said without hesitation, "When they use the signs right, it saves me so much time." And that time matters. Stewards typically clean 15 to 20 cabins twice a day. That includes making beds, wiping surfaces, replacing towels, restocking minibars, and handling special requests. When you use the indicators correctly, you help them plan their workflow, reduce stress, and actually increase the chance that your cabin gets extra attention. It's a small habit with a big impact. Respect their schedule, and they'll return the favor. So before you leave your cabin each morning, do a quick check. Flip the switch, hang the tag, and give your steward the green light to take care of you. Here's something your cabin steward will never tell you, but will absolutely appreciate. You don't need to deep clean your room, but you shouldn't turn it into a disaster zone either. Yes, it's their job to clean, but they're not your personal butler or a 24/7 cleanup crew. When stewards walk into cabins that look like tornado zones, clothes everywhere, trash scattered, used towels in a pile on the floor, it slows everything down and makes an already demanding job even harder. On the other hand, when guests keep things reasonably tidy, placing shoes neatly by the bed, putting trash in the bin, storing loose items in drawers or packing cubes, it's noticed. It makes cleaning faster, smoother, and more effective. And it's a sign of mutual respect. Here's some simple ways to help without stressing yourself out. Designate a spot for dirty laundry instead of tossing it around the room. Keep bathroom counters relatively clear so they can sanitize surfaces easily. Use packing cubes or organizers to reduce clutter in small spaces. Hang wet swimsuits in the shower or on towel hooks, not over furniture. Place used towels in one location so they're easy to grab. One steward once told me, "When I walk into a cabin that's already a little organized, I feel like the guest respects what I do." That doesn't mean you have to live like a monk on vacation. Just be aware that the small choices you make in your space impact the person who's caring for it. It's not about perfection, it's about partnership. A little order goes a long way toward appreciation and great service. Cabin stewards want to help. They really do. But there's one thing that can make even the most simple request frustrating: bad timing. Imagine this. It's 8 p.m., your steward has already done both rounds of cleaning, and you suddenly ask for 3 extra pillows, an ice bucket, and a mattress topper, all before dinner. It's not that they won't help, but by that point in the day, supplies may be low, supervisors may be gone, and they're likely scrambling to finish for the night. Now imagine if you'd asked for those same things at 2 p.m. on day 1. That's the difference timing makes. When you board the ship and meet your steward, it's the perfect moment to share any special requests, whether it's an extra towel every day, more hangers, a different blanket, or help adjusting the mini fridge. These are easy to arrange early on, and your steward can build them into your routine. And don't be shy. You're not being demanding by asking for what you need. You're giving them clarity. A polite, specific request is far easier to manage than vague complaints or last-minute surprises. Also, be realistic. If you ask for something unusual, like a firm mattress, distilled water, or allergy-safe cleaning supplies, know that some items may take time to source, if they're even available. But again, the sooner you ask, the better your odds. I once requested a memory foam mattress topper on embarkation day. Not only did I get it, but the steward thanked me for not waiting until day 4 to mention it, like many guests do. So remember, be friendly, be specific, and be early. It's not about asking less. It's about asking better and making your steward's job easier to deliver exactly what you need. Even on the best cruises, things go wrong. Air conditioners freeze up, lights stop working, or the toilet refuses to flush properly. It happens. But how you handle these hiccups can make all the difference, not just for you, but for your cabin steward too. Here's what most people don't realize. When you go straight to guest services to report an issue, without giving your steward a chance to fix it first, it reflects on them. It can trigger extra inspections, paperwork, or even disciplinary conversations they don't deserve. Your steward isn't just your cleaner, they're your first line of support. So if something's not right, talk to them directly, calmly and kindly. Say something like, "Hey, I noticed the A/C's a bit weak. Do you know if that's something that can be adjusted? Or the light over the vanity flickers a bit. Could you help with that?" Chances are, they'll either fix it themselves or escalate it through the right channels quickly and without the drama. On my last cruise, our shower wasn't draining properly. Instead of going to the front desk, I mentioned it casually to our steward. Within 20 minutes, maintenance was knocking on the door. Problem solved, no stress, and my steward thanked me for coming to him first. That approach matters. Stewards are doing their best, often under a lot of pressure. A respectful tone shows you understand that and earns you better help in return. So next time something's off, breathe, smile, and start with your steward. It makes the whole cruise smoother for everyone. Most people wait until the last day to leave a tip or say thank you to their cabin steward. And while that's appreciated, it might be too late to change anything about your experience. Want to really surprise your steward and see the results immediately? Do it midway through the cruise. A short handwritten note that says, "Thank you for taking such good care of us. We're doing a great job," paired with a $10 or $20 bill, goes further than you think. Not just because of the money, but because of the timing. When you show appreciation halfway through the trip, two things happen. Your steward feels seen and valued, right when they're deep in the exhausting daily routine. They often go above and beyond for the rest of your cruise, because you stood out as someone who notices. Stewards don't expect tips beyond what's automatically included in your fare. But when you offer one proactively, especially early, it tells them, "I see your work and I appreciate it." That kind of gesture is rare and memorable. You don't need to overdo it. Even a small note alone can brighten someone's day. And if you're on a longer cruise, 2 weeks or more, a midpoint tip feels even more natural. Remember, these crew members work long hours, with few days off for months at a time. Kindness in the moment carries more weight than a rushed goodbye envelope on disembarkation day. So if you love the service, say something sooner. It's a win-win. This might be the most important tip of all, and the one your cabin steward will never ask for. Treat them like a human being, not a machine, not an invisible cleaner, not someone who only exists when you need towels. They're people with families, dreams, cultures, and personalities. Most of them work 7 days a week for months at a time, away from home and loved ones. And yet, they show up with a smile, because that's the job. But when someone stops and says, "Where are you from?" or "How long have you worked on ships?" that guest stands out. Ask a few respectful questions. Listen, share something about yourself too. You'll be amazed how a small moment of connection turns your steward from staff into someone who genuinely cares about you during the trip. On one cruise, I had a steward named Putu from Bali. I asked him about his favorite port to visit, and we ended up chatting about local food, his kids back home, and how he celebrates the holidays on board. After that, the service felt warmer, more thoughtful, and I genuinely looked forward to seeing him every day. That's the power of kindness. You don't need to cross any boundaries or ask personal questions. Just treat them the same way you'd want to be treated if the roles were reversed. Because behind every neatly made bed and freshly folded towel is a person doing their best, just like you. So, what's the secret to being the kind of cruise guest your cabin steward quietly loves? It's not about tipping big or pulling VIP status. It's about being thoughtful, respectful, and human. Learn their name. Use the service indicators properly. Keep your space manageable. Make clear requests early. Handle issues with kindness. Say thank you before the trip ends. And above all, treat them like the amazing human beings they are. These aren't just nice-to-haves. They're habits that build genuine relationships on board. And when your steward feels respected and valued, you'll be amazed at how that positive energy comes right back to you. Want smoother service? More personalized attention? Even a surprise or two along the way? This is how it starts. If you found this helpful, give the video a like, subscribe for more cruise tips, and share it with a fellow cruiser who cares about doing things the right way. Have a cabin steward who made your trip unforgettable? Drop their name in the comments and tell us what made them so special. Let's celebrate the incredible crew who make cruising feel like home.